You're walking into an industrial city in the year 1850. The first thing you notice is not a building. It is a sound. A low, constant mechanical presence fills the air. Metal striking metal. Steam escaping under pressure. Rhythmic, repetitive, unrelenting. This city announces itself through noise. As you move closer, the skyline begins to change. Chimneys rise above everything else. Tall, narrow stacks releasing dark smoke that spreads across the sky. The air feels heavier here. This is not smoke from hearths or small workshops. It is industrial smoke. The city is no longer shaped by church towers or civic buildings. It is shaped by factories. As you step onto the streets, movement feels different. People walk faster, more directly. There is a sense of urgency in how bodies move through space. This city is governed by schedules. Time here is no longer guided by daylight or bells. It is dictated by shifts. You are walking through a place where machines have reorganized life. The streets are wider than in older cities, but more crowded. Carts loaded with coal, raw materials, and finished goods move constantly. Rail lines cut through neighborhoods, bringing noise and vibration. Nothing feels static. Everything is in motion, even when standing still. As you walk, the ground beneath your feet feels hard and unforgiving. Stone and packed dirt stained dark by soot and oil. The smell is immediate. Coal smoke. Hot metal. Waste. The air carries the byproduct of production everywhere. Breathing here is different. You pass the entrance to a factory. Inside, you glimpse rows of machines. Large. Loud. Driven by steam power. Belts turn. Pistons move. Wheels spin in constant repetition. This is work that does not pause. Unlike older forms of labor, machines do not rest. They demand attention. You notice workers entering and exiting the building in groups. Men, women, children. Their movement is synchronized not by choice, but by necessity. The factory controls time here. As you continue walking, you begin to feel how the scale of the city has changed. Buildings are taller, but more uniform. Rows of worker housing stretch outward from industrial centers. These neighborhoods grow quickly, not carefully. Function matters more than comfort. Homes are packed tightly together, built close to factories to minimize travel time. The city is reorganized around efficiency. You are walking through a landscape shaped by production. As you move deeper into the city, sound becomes constant. There is no return to silence. Even between factories, the noise lingers. Machinery hums in the distance. Steam whistles punctuate the air. Carts rumble over uneven roads. The city never fully quiets. This constant noise changes how people move and interact. Conversation is shorter. Gestures replace words. The environment itself demands adaptation. As you walk past a factory wall, you notice its scale. Windows are high and narrow, designed to let in light, not views. The building is not meant to connect to the street. It is meant to contain production. This architecture turns inward. People exist outside. Machines dominate inside. You begin to understand that this city is not built around community. It is built around output. As you continue walking, you pass a canal or rail spur feeding directly into a factory yard. Raw materials arrive in bulk. Coal, iron, cotton. Everything enters the city at scale. Nothing here is handmade in isolation. Production has been centralized. This changes how labor is understood. Workers do not see a finished object. They perform a single task, repeated endlessly. The connection between effort and outcome has been broken. As you walk, you see faces marked by fatigue. This work is not seasonal. It is constant. There is no natural pause. The machines run as long as fuel and labor are available. Time stretches and compresses unnaturally. You notice clocks mounted on factory walls. Large, visible. Time is no longer personal. It is external. You do not feel time here. You obey it. As you walk through a working-class district, the effects of this system become more visible. Narrow streets lined with identical houses. Laundry hanging between buildings. Children playing near factory gates. Life exists in the shadow of production. Homes are places to recover, not to live fully. You begin to understand that the city no longer adapts to the human body. The human body adapts to the city. As you continue walking, the scale of change becomes clear. This is not simply a new type of work. It is a new way of organizing life. Machines do not just produce goods. They produce rhythm. And that rhythm now governs the city. You are not walking through a city that happens to contain machines. You are walking through a city built for them. As you continue walking through the industrial city, the presence of machines becomes impossible to separate from daily life. You are no longer just hearing industry. You are living inside its rhythm. Time here does not flow. It ticks. Everything is organized around fixed hours. Shifts begin. Shifts end. The day is divided not by sunrise and sunset, but by whistles. A sharp blast cuts through the air. Workers move almost instantly. Doors open. Gates close. You feel the city react as a single body. This sound is not a suggestion. It is an order. As you walk along a main street, you see streams of people moving in the same direction. Toward factories. Away from them. Movement is synchronized. Predictable. The city pulses according to industrial time. You pass shopfronts catering almost entirely to workers. Bakeries' time to shift changes. Cheap food sold quickly. Clothing designed for durability, not comfort. Everything here serves labor. As you walk, you notice how little space there is for pause. Streets are functional corridors. Public squares are rare. The city no longer invites lingering. It directs movement. You see clocks everywhere, mounted on factory walls, inside workshops, near railway stations. Time is constantly visible. In pre-industrial cities, time was felt. Here, it is enforced. You begin to sense how this changes the human body. People move faster, but with less variation. Posture tightens. Steps shorten. Fatigue is constant, but controlled. As you continue walking, you pass workers leaving a factory at the end of a shift. Their faces are gray with dust. Their clothing stained with oil and sweat. There is relief in their movement, but no celebration. Another shift will begin soon. This cycle does not stop. You notice children among the workers. Small bodies navigating adult spaces. Carrying tools. Running errands. Industrial time does not distinguish between ages. Productivity matters more than development. As you move deeper into working-class neighborhoods, the consequences of this system become clearer. Housing is dense and uniform. Rows of brick buildings stretch outward from industrial centers. These neighborhoods are built quickly. Efficiency over quality. Homes are close to factories to reduce travel time. Distance is wasted energy. Inside these areas, life feels compressed. Multiple families share small spaces. Ventilation is poor. Light is limited. The environment itself seems tired. You notice how noise follows people home. Machinery hums in the background, even at rest. The city never fully releases its grip. As you walk, you pass public wells and shared facilities. Infrastructure struggles to keep pace with growth. Industrial expansion moves faster than planning. This creates tension. The city grows, but unevenly. You begin to see how health is affected. Coughs are common. Faces look prematurely aged. Bodies carry strain early. Industrial labor does not just consume time. It consumes bodies. As you continue walking, the speed of life feels relentless. Meals are short. Rest is functional. Leisure is rare. When people stop moving, it is usually because they must. This city does not slow naturally. It must be forced to stop. You pass a railway line cutting through the neighborhood. A train roars past, shaking the ground. This is movement at a scale the human body cannot match. The machine sets the pace now. You realize that the city no longer belongs to its inhabitants in the way older cities did. It belongs to production schedules, to output targets, to supply chains. People live here, but the city is not built for living. It is built for working. As you continue walking, you sense the psychological shift this creates. Time feels scarce, even when nothing is happening. There is always the awareness of the next shift, the next whistle, the next demand. Life becomes segmented. Work time, rest time, recovery time. Everything else disappears. This fragmentation of time fragments identity. People are no longer defined by craft or place. They are defined by role, by position in the machine. As you walk toward another factory complex, you notice how little individuality is expressed. Clothing is similar. Movement is similar. Routines repeat endlessly. The city trains conformity through necessity. Deviation is costly. As the noise swells again around you, one thing becomes clear. This industrial city does not simply contain machines. It has reorganized humanity around them. And as you keep walking, you begin to understand that this transformation is only beginning. As you continue walking through the city, you begin to understand how deeply industrialization reshapes the human body. Not metaphorically. Physically. This city is built for machines, and bodies are expected to adapt. You walk past factory gates as another shift begins. People enter in lines, heads lowered, movements efficient. There is no ceremony, no transition. Work begins instantly. Inside, the machines dictate posture. Workers stand where the machines require. They move how the machines allow. The body becomes an extension of the mechanism. Repetition replaces variety. The same motion, the same reach, the same turn, hour after hour. You begin to see the effects on the streets. People walk with stiffness, shoulders rounded, hands permanently shaped by tools. In older cities, labor marked the hands. Here, it reshapes the entire frame. As you continue walking, you notice how injury is treated. Minor injuries are common. Burns, cuts, crushed fingers. They are not exceptional. They are expected. Work does not stop for pain. Pain becomes background. Those who cannot keep pace are replaced. This creates a silent pressure, an awareness that the body must endure. As you walk past a clinic or charitable hospital, you notice how limited care is. Facilities are crowded. Resources stretch thin. Industrial accidents arrive faster than recovery. The city consumes workers faster than it can heal them. You see men who are too young to look old, and too old to still be working. You see children with the posture of adults. Industrial labor compresses life stages. There is little distinction between strength and exhaustion. Both are temporary. As you move through the streets, you notice how food reflects this reality. Meals are designed for energy, not pleasure. Cheap calories, heavy bread, boiled foods. Eating is functional. The body is fueled, not nourished. As you walk, you pass taverns filled early in the day. Not for leisure, but for relief. Alcohol dulls pain, softens fatigue. It becomes part of survival. You begin to see how industrial life narrows experience. The city offers few spaces for reflection, few quiet corners, few moments of unstructured time. Even rest is shaped by necessity. Sleep comes when exhaustion demands it. Waking comes when the whistle calls. As you continue walking, the physical environment reinforces this pressure. Buildings are hard-edged. Materials are unforgiving. Brick, iron, stone. There is little softness in this city. Nature is distant. Trees are rare. Green spaces almost non-existent. The environment mirrors the work. As you walk past a river or canal blackened by waste, you see how the body and the city share the same fate. Both absorb byproducts. Both carry residue. Pollution does not stay outside. It enters lungs. It settles on skin. Health becomes cumulative damage. As you continue walking, you sense how endurance replaces skill as the primary value. In pre-industrial cities, mastery mattered. Here, tolerance matters. The ability to withstand noise, to withstand repetition, to withstand fatigue. The city rewards those who can endure longest. This shifts how people see themselves. Pride comes not from craft, but from survival. As you walk through a crowded intersection, you feel the pace increase. People avoid collisions instinctively. Bodies learn to navigate density. The city trains reflexes. This constant adaptation becomes invisible to those living inside it. But as you walk, you feel it pressing on you. The industrial city does not negotiate with the body. It demands compliance. And yet, life continues. People form families, maintain friendships, create moments of meaning where they can. But everything happens under constraint. As you move farther from the factory core, the noise diminishes slightly. Not silence, just less intensity. Here, bodies loosen marginally. Conversations lengthen. Movement slows. But the industrial rhythm remains underneath. It never fully releases. As you continue walking, one realization settles in. This city does not simply use human bodies. It reshapes them. And in doing so, it creates a new kind of urban human. One adapted to machines. One measured by output. One defined by endurance. This is the industrial body. And it is becoming the norm. As you continue walking through the industrial city, the social divisions become impossible to ignore. This is not a city growing evenly. It is a city splitting. You walk from factory-lined streets into dense working-class neighborhoods. The transition is abrupt. Rows of identical housing stretch outward, built quickly and cheaply. Brick upon brick. Window after window. These neighborhoods exist to hold labor. Nothing more. Streets are narrow. Light struggles to reach the ground. Air feels trapped. Here, proximity is not community. It is necessity. Families live close together not by choice, but by constraint. Multiple generations share limited space. Privacy is scarce. As you walk, you notice how infrastructure lags behind growth. Drainage is poor. Water collects in the streets. Waste disposal is inconsistent. The city expands faster than it can support itself. Illness spreads easily here. Crowding amplifies every weakness. You hear coughing. You see signs of chronic fatigue. Bodies already worn by work now face unhealthy living conditions. Industrial inequality is spatial. Those who work the hardest live the closest to pollution. Factories loom over homes. Smoke drifts directly into windows. Distance from industry becomes a privilege. As you continue walking, you cross into a slightly different district. The streets widen. Buildings are cleaner. Noise diminishes. This is where managers, supervisors, and merchants live. Not wealthy by aristocratic standards, but removed from the worst conditions. The separation is subtle, but real. The industrial city reorganizes class physically. Where you live reflects your position in the system. As you walk, you notice how little interaction occurs across these boundaries. Lives run parallel, rarely intersecting except through work. This creates isolation within density. People are surrounded but disconnected. Public spaces reflect this division. Few shared squares. Few neutral gathering points. The city does not encourage mixing. It channels movement along class lines. As you continue walking, you pass a school or charitable institution. Education exists, but access is uneven. Children of workers attend briefly, if at all. Labor pulls them away early. Opportunity narrows quickly. The industrial city promises advancement, but delivers repetition. You see signs of resistance. Small acts. Community support. Mutual aid. People help each other survive. But these efforts operate at the margins. The system itself remains intact. As you walk past a row of housing near a factory wall, you realize how permanent this arrangement feels. The city is not planning to fix itself. It is optimizing. Efficiency has replaced care as the guiding principle. This is a rupture from older urban life. Cities once balanced trade, residence, and community. Here, those elements are separated and ranked. Production comes first. Everything else adapts. As you continue walking, you notice how inequality becomes normalized. Children grow up assuming these conditions. Noise, smoke, crowding. This becomes baseline reality. The city trains expectation downward. Hope becomes practical, not aspirational. Survival matters more than mobility. As evening approaches, the divisions sharpen. Workers return home exhausted. Supervisors withdraw to quieter streets. The city contracts unevenly. As you walk through dim streets lit by gas lamps, you sense how power feels distant here. Decisions are made elsewhere. Owners may never visit these neighborhoods. Control is abstract. The industrial city introduces a new kind of separation between those who experience production and those who benefit from it. As you continue walking, you realize this fragmentation is not accidental. It is structural. The city has been redesigned to prioritize output over cohesion, and that choice reshapes everything. This is not just an economic shift. It is a social one. As you walk, the city feels less like a shared space and more like a mechanism. Different parts performing different functions. Unequal, interdependent, and increasingly disconnected. As you continue walking through the industrial city, a final realization begins to take shape. This city no longer belongs to human rhythm. It belongs to systems. Everything you have seen, the factories, the schedules, the neighborhoods, the bodies, is part of a single transformation. The city has stopped adapting to people. People now adapt to the city. You walk past another factory as night approaches. The machines inside are still running. Light spills through high windows. Steam escapes into the dark air. Work does not end cleanly here. It overlaps. It extends. Night is no longer a pause. It is another phase. Gas lamps line the streets, casting harsh light and long shadows. Visibility improves, but the atmosphere feels heavier. Artificial light stretches the working day. Time expands beyond the body's limits. You notice how movement changes at night. Fewer people. More fatigue. Those still walking move with purpose. Home. Another shift. Another task. The city does not invite wandering. As you walk, the noise softens slightly, but never disappears. Machines continue in the distance. Trains pass. Whistles echo. The industrial city never fully sleeps. This constant activity alters perception. Silence becomes unfamiliar. Stillness feels unnatural. Rest is no longer part of the environment. It must be taken deliberately. You pass residential streets where families settle into cramped rooms. Windows glow briefly, then darken. Recovery happens quickly. Tomorrow arrives early. As you continue walking, you begin to understand how profound this change is. In older cities, work fit into life. Here, life fits around work. The city is no longer a shared space shaped by custom and habit. It is an apparatus, each part optimized, each movement measured. The relationship between effort and meaning has shifted. People no longer see the whole. They see their position. This fragments identity. You are no longer a craftsperson. You are a worker, no longer defined by skill, but by endurance. As you walk through a final intersection, you feel the scale of this rupture. The industrial city has created abundance, but at a cost. Speed replaces balance. Output replaces rhythm. Efficiency replaces care. This is not an accident. It is a choice. A new logic has taken hold. And once established, it reshapes everything it touches. You realize that this city is not a temporary experiment. It is a blueprint. What you're walking through in 1850 will spread to other cities, other countries, other continents. The machines will grow faster, larger, more powerful. The systems will become abstract, less visible, more difficult to resist. But here, at this moment, the transformation is still tangible. You can see it in the smoke, hear it in the noise, feel it in the pace of your steps. This is the moment when machines take control of the city, not through violence, but through necessity. They promise productivity, consistency, growth, and the city reorganizes itself to serve them. As you walk toward the edge of the industrial district, you look back once more. The skyline is no longer defined by churches or civic buildings. It is defined by chimneys. The soundscape is no longer human conversation. It is mechanical rhythm. The city has changed its language, and in doing so, it has changed its people. This is not a story of good or evil, progress or decline. It is a story of rupture, a moment when urban life shifts direction, when time becomes mechanical, when bodies become resources, when the city becomes a machine. You are walking through that moment, and nothing that comes after will be the same.